Hey guys, Metal Viking 82 here, back with my 25, well, should I say to say 25 of my favorite releases from 2021, and much like my EPs and demos video, these are not ranked in any kind of order, just how I happen to stack them when I was getting stuff ready. And yeah, like I said, 2021, despite being a shit year, was full of really great releases, and a lot of albums that I know I missed, and a lot of albums I just didn't give a chance, enough of a chance, I should say, to possibly make this list. But going to start off like I did with the EPs video with the stuff that I did reviews for. So if you want my full thoughts on them, go check out those reviews. So got a lot to get through here. We're going to start things off with Holder in Godslastering Hymns of a Forlorn Peasantry. Absolutely amazing black metal out of Portland, Oregon. A one-woman show. Her name is Holder, obviously. And yeah, amazing debut full-length album with a really great mix of traditional black metal and folk elements. And then one that got a lot of hype early on in the year, but it definitely lived up to it and even surpassed it in my opinion. This is Frozen Soul with Crypt of Ice. Absolutely killer death metal out of Fort Worth, Texas. It's cold, ominous with vibes of Nile and Bolt Thrower throughout. Really solid stuff. And then the next two are both Indianapolis, Indiana bands. This one was a bittersweet release here because the bassist tragically passed away before the album actually came out. And that is a Hate Song with Chapel Rats. Absolutely loved this album. It's just 34 minutes of fast and nasty sounding black metal mixed with crust and D-beat elements. Definitely worth checking out. And this next one I actually just did a review of. That is Lavaborn with Black Winged Gods. A Wise Blood Records release, of course. But yeah, heavy doom metal out of Indianapolis, as I said. It's just epic sounding, really well written, and has hints of Candlemass throughout this thing. Really solid stuff. Then we have another Wise Blood Records release. This is Kriegsgrove with The Sundering. And yeah, this is a band that mixes both, well, not both, but black metal with death metal, doom metal, and even hints of traditional metal out of Keller, Texas. Yeah, great blend of all those styles. They really wrote this well. It's heavy yet melodic with a lot of somber touches to it. Absolutely love this album. Then we have a new project from Von Young over at Lavidity. This is Colossus with Degenesis. And yeah, this is a technical death metal band out of Illinois. This album it's gritty, it's technical, with some melodic passages to it, but it's just absolutely solid death metal album throughout. Definitely worth checking out. Next up, we have a band featuring former members of both Nervosa and Burning Witches, so the members are kind of split up between Brazil and the Netherlands. This is Krypta with Echoes of the Soul. Yeah, death metal, very old school inspired. It's heavy, it's catchy, it's really well written. Definitely worth checking out. And last of the reviewed ones, we have Aversed with Impermanent. Melodic death metal out of Boston, Massachusetts. This is just an album full of well-executed songs combining heaviness, melodicism, all topped off with Heidi's amazing and very varied vocal performance, which, of course, not long after this album came out, she had left the band, so that kind of sucks, but I'm still looking forward to seeing what they have in store. Excuse me. All right, moving on to the stuff that I have not done reviews for. Fear Factory, Aggression Continuum. Of course, Fear Factory are a industrial groove / death metal band from Los Angeles. First album in 6 years due to a litany of legal issues and things like that. But it was well worth the wait, as I think this is, in my opinion, one of their best albums in the most recent years. And, of course, the last one to feature Burton C. Bell on vocals. But, yeah, this album is just full of Dino's heavy and just badass guitar riffs. I absolutely love listening to this album. Then we got some new metal, which I know a lot of people are not really happy that new metal is kind of making a comeback. But this is Tetrarch with Unstable. Yeah, these guys have also been kind of considered a metalcore band as well, but they're mostly known as a new metal band out of Atlanta, Georgia. And I think this is just a fantastic album. It combines elements of Korn and Static X, and the vocals really remind me a lot of Dope and even a little bit of Chester from Linkin Park at times. But I absolutely loved listening to this album. It's very heavy, really good stuff. And we got Rob Zombie with the Lunar Injection Kool-Aid Eclipse Conspiracy. Try saying that 3 times fast. Yeah, Rob Zombie, shock rock, industrial, new metal out of Haverhill, Massachusetts. Pretty much, I think this is his best album out of his most recent output over the last few years. Definitely has, to me, a combination of Hellbilly Deluxe and the Sinister Urge with some really great guitar work from John 5. Favorite track on here is definitely the Ballad of Sleazy Rider. I absolutely love that song. All right, going back to Indiana again with some blackened speed metal. This is Wraith and Undo the Chains. Yeah, this is just an absolute ripper of an album. It's fast guitar riffs, sick vocal work. I love the bass tone they got on here. If you're a fan of Midnight or even fellow indie black thrashers, Grave Ripper, definitely go check out the new Wraith. Then we have Nervosa with Perpetual Chaos. Absolutely love that album artwork. Yeah, this is a thrash metal band out of Brazil, though it kind of tends, I think, to lean more towards death thrash than anything. This is the band's 4th full-length album and the first with an all-new lineup, sans guitarist and vocalist Prica Amaral. But yeah, this is just filled with heavy, thrashy riffs, equally heavy bass by Mia Wallace, formerly of Aborted. Really great drum work, and topped off with Prica's just absolutely nasty sounding vocals that are very reminiscent, I feel, of Angela Gossow. Next up, KKs Priest with Sermons of the Sinner. Of course, heavy metal band with members between the UK and the US. Of course, this is a new project of KK Downing, formerly of Judas Priest, so of course it's going to sound really similar to Priest, and many complained that this album was definitely cheesy and everything, but I don't know, I really enjoyed listening to this. I think it's a fun listen and definitely worth checking out. I've never been the hugest fan of Ripper's vocals, but I don't know, I really dug this album a lot. Next up, my buddies over in Portland put out a new album, so of course this was probably going to make the list. This is Modem with Deconsecrate. Black and death metal out of Portland, Oregon. This is their 2nd full-length album, and honestly, this is just an absolute banger of an album, and I just feel like these dudes get better and better and even heavier with each release, but they also have a technical flair to them as well. I absolutely love their music. I will be doing a review of this at some point, but yeah, Enigmatum, Deconsecrate, go check this one out. All right, get the notes all flipped over here. Stay. Next up, Occult, Crepitation of Phlegethon. Death metal band out of Atlanta, Georgia. This is just an absolutely crushing debut full-length from these veterans. Nasty guitar riffs, low cavernous vocals courtesy of Justin Stubbs, and of course, Cave Moran's just beast-like drum assault that threatens to demolish the kit. You owe it to yourself to check this out. We have more veterans of the scene. This is Cannibal Corpse with Violence Unimagined. Of course, these guys really need no introduction. Death metal band from Tampa, Florida. This is the band's 15th full-length album, and they really show once again why they are the godfathers of death metal, in my opinion. And I know there were a lot of worries and fears after Pat O'Brien left the band of how they were going to sound, who they were going to get to replace him, would it affect their sound any at all? But I think Eric Rutan put all that to rest when he joined the band, because he has brought a new fire to this band, and I think this is just an absolutely solid album. I know many might disagree with me, but whatevs. Next up, Apparition with Feel. Death metal band from Los Angeles, California. This is just heavy, old school style death metal with that heavy and ominous vibe that Incantation is really known for. Really great low growls. Musically creeps more towards a doom death style at times, but I absolutely loved listening to this. Go check it out. This one was actually a more recent purchase, which is kind of why I tend to do my list at the beginning of the year, because I really am glad that I waited, because these are the kind of releases that can come out and potentially make it on your list. This is Nephilim Grinder with Spiritual Torment. This is a brutal death metal band out of Houston, Texas, and is the project of stabbing guitarist, funnily enough, Marvin Ruiz, who not only handles guitars in this band, but he also now handles bass and vocals. And it's just 11 tracks of Texas-style brutality with some absolutely sick guttural growls and some really killer blast beats throughout this whole thing. Now, moving on up to Canada. This is Expunged with Into Never Shall. Death metal band out of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. This is pretty much pure HM2 Swedish-inspired death metal. So if you're a fan of Dismember and Entombed, you would definitely dig these guys. If I remember right, this is their debut full-length album. I pretty much have everything that they've put out, I do believe. And yeah, they have never failed to disappoint me. Just really solid death metal, great vocals, love the guitar work, and yeah, definitely worth checking out. Really happy to see they are on Hell's Headbangers, so yeah, that's a really good label. Next up, we have Laceration with Demise. This is a death thrash band out of Windsor, California. This is the band's debut full-length album, and this is just filled with thick bass lines, fast thrashy riffs, some solid drumming, and just absolutely killer, and I'd say probably more mid-range sounding growls, and I just absolutely love the guitar solos all over this album. Definitely one that needs to be checked out. Heading back to Texas, this time from McAllen, Texas. This is Cryptic Mutation with Pulled from the Pit. Yeah, again, more Texas-style death metal. Just some fast double bass work. Great blast beats on this thing. Really thick-sounding bass with some solid guitar work, topped off by these heavy and throat-destroying sounding growls. Absolutely killer stuff. Definitely go check that one out. All right, get my notes out of the way here, sorry. Now we're moving over into Ohio, so my neighbor. This is Cleveland, Ohio's Inoculation with Celestial Putridity. Second full-length album from this band. Again, some more old-school-inspired death metal with spacey elements throughout. Full of just heavy riffs, solid drum work, low growls, mixed with these absolutely disgusting-sounding screams. Absolutely fantastic release, in my opinion. Go check out Inoculation. And then the last two are from definite veterans of the death metal scene. Starting with Aborted and Maniacult. Of course, brutal death metal / grindcore out of Belgium. This is the band's 11th full-length album, and as I said, these guys are veterans of the scene, so they know how to do their thing, and honestly, they've never failed to disappoint me. This is heavy and frantic, and I think Sven's distinctive growls and maniacal screams sound as great as ever. Definitely another solid release in the Aborted catalog. And last, but most certainly not least, we have Unleashed in No Sign of Life. And I love that artwork. 14th full-length album from the Viking Horde here. Johnny and his DM Horde, pretty much, prove once again why they are one of the best in the death metal scene, in my opinion. Everything's just really well written, well executed. The vocals are as killer as they ever have been, and I just absolutely love listening to this release. Definitely go check this one out. And that is going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing. And yeah, more reviews will be coming soon now that I've got this list taken care of. And until next time, stay brutal.